Picture an entire Roman army standing at the edge of the sea, swords drawn, charging forward to attack the water. Their target? The ocean itself. And the man who ordered it believed he was a living god. This is the story of Caligula, and honestly, it only gets crazier. So how on earth did Rome end up here? It starts, believe it or not, with a beloved little boy. His real name was Gaius, born into Rome's most famous family. His father was Germanicus, a war hero the whole empire adored. As a toddler, Gaius toured the army camps dressed as a mini-soldier. He even had tiny soldier boots, and the troops thought it was the cutest thing ever. So they gave him a nickname, Caligula. It means, quite literally, little boots. He was the empire's little mascot, and Rome loved him. Meanwhile, Rome was ruled by a grim, gloomy old emperor named Tiberius, who spent his final years sulking on a cliffside island, hated by nearly everyone. So when Tiberius finally died in 37 AD, and young Caligula took the throne, Rome absolutely lost its mind with joy. The son of their hero was finally in charge. And at first, honestly, he was fantastic. He freed prisoners, cut taxes, and threw lavish games for the people. And then something changed. According to ancient historians, Caligula fell gravely ill. All of Rome held its breath, terrified their golden emperor would die. He survived, but the man who recovered was different. The charming young ruler was gone. In his place sat something erratic, paranoid, and increasingly unhinged. And with absolute power and nobody to say no, things spiraled fast. First, Caligula decided he was no longer merely a man. He was a god, a living, breathing, walking around god. He reportedly built a temple devoted to worshipping himself. He is said to have taken statues of the gods, had their heads removed, and replaced them with his own. He believed he could talk with the gods as equals. Ancient writers claim he held long conversations with the god Jupiter, sometimes threatening him, sometimes whispering secrets. And on quiet nights, he was said to invite the moon down to visit him. Now, historians warn us to take these tales with a grain of salt. Most of what we know comes from writers like Suetonius, decades later, and they were not exactly fans of the guy. But even the milder stories are, frankly, wild, so let's keep going. Because now we need to talk about the horse. Caligula had a beloved racehorse named Incitatus. Incitatus lived in a stall made of marble, Ate from a manger carved of ivory, and was draped in blankets of royal purple. It had its own servants and even its own house. Caligula threw dinner parties and invited guests in the horse's name. But the most infamous story of all is this. Caligula reportedly planned to make Incitatus a consul. Consul was the highest office in all of Rome. And here's the thing, that might have been exactly the point. Many think it was a deliberate insult to the Senate, as if to say, my horse could do your job better than you. But the message landed, nobody was safe from his whims. Now, if the horse sounds absurd, hold on tight. Because Caligula's next move was to go to war. He marched a massive army all the way to the northern coast, supposedly to launch a grand invasion of Britain across the sea. The soldiers lined up on the shore, battle ready, waiting for the order. And then, Caligula gave one of the strangest commands in military history. He ordered them to attack the ocean. Some say it was a war on the sea god, Neptune himself. So the mighty Roman army waded in and stabbed the water. Caligula ordered the troops to collect seashells, the spoils of his great victory over the ocean. He declared total victory over Neptune and demanded a triumph. Historians still argue about what really happened on that beach, but the emperor who declared war on the ocean stuck for 2,000 years. And the sea wasn't the only thing he tried to conquer. Years earlier, an astrologer had made a prediction about young Caligula. He had no more chance of becoming emperor than of riding a horse across the Bay of Baiae. Now emperor, Caligula took that as a personal challenge. So he built a bridge across the bay, a bridge of boats. He gathered hundreds of ships and chained them together over 2 miles across. And he rode a horse straight across it in golden armor. Just to prove one dead astrologer wrong. The cost of all this? Absolutely staggering. Because that was Caligula's real talent, burning through money. He inherited a treasury overflowing with gold. And he drained it dry in just a couple of years. He reportedly loved to remind everyone exactly who was in charge. He forced Rome's proud senators to grovel and flatter him endlessly. He is said to have made distinguished noblemen run beside his chariot, like servants, sweating in their fine togas. He humiliated the elite for sport, and no one dared object. He grew crueler and more paranoid, seeing enemies everywhere. One chilling line has echoed through history. He supposedly wished all of Rome had a single neck, so he could be rid of them all at once. And that fear, it turns out, is a dangerous thing to create. because Caligula was guarded by an elite unit called the Praetorian Guard. But he mocked and humiliated them too, once too often. And in 41 AD, the guards decided they'd had enough. In a narrow palace passageway, they made their move. After less than 4 years of rule, Caligula was gone. He became the first Roman emperor murdered by his own guards. For a brief, wild moment, Rome wondered if it even needed an emperor at all. But the Praetorian Guard had other plans. They found Caligula's timid uncle Claudius reportedly hiding behind a curtain, and declared him the new emperor on the spot. So the madness ended not with freedom, but with another emperor. And Caligula, he became a legend for all the wrong reasons. For 2,000 years, his name has meant one thing: absolute power driving a man completely, spectacularly insane. But here's the honest twist historians want you to remember. Almost everything we know came from writers who hated him. The horse, the sea, the god stuff, some of it may be exaggeration or outright propaganda. The real Caligula may have been less a cartoon villain and more a warning. Give a man a crown, a god complex, and no one to say no. And maybe, just maybe, he tries to make his horse a senator. Little Boots, the beloved mascot, became history's maddest emperor. And 2,000 years later, we're still telling his unbelievable story. If you love history that's true, strange, and told to you straight, subscribe. We've got a whole world of it. See you in the next one.